Hello again. My name is Morgan. I'm a licensed esthetician and practicing crystal practitioner, healer. I think calling yourself a healer and even calling myself an esthetician and these labels, that is how unattached and deep I'm about to get on this entire channel. I don't really think kindly of labels. Oh my gosh, I'm already spiraling. The point of this video being my second video before I start getting on here and my last video I was able to express myself in regard to how I feel about like the frustration of trying to thrive within society as it currently is, and really I didn't get too much into it, and even in this one I want to keep it brief, but there's just things that I have to kind of like get a little more comfortable saying and doing on the internet, and one of those things is I think I have to explain my sense of boundaries, because this is something I do have strongly established, and I think this is probably why I'm able to be as thoughtful as I am. And this does go very deep in thought, but it's I think I am trying to get these things out of the way, because I don't want to really, that's not what the point of my channel is like expressing my opinions, my perceptions, and it is. It's a paradox. Everything is a freaking paradox, and I spiral. But more than that, I am stepping into something. This is not a step down. This is not like, am I gonna make it or not? It is what's about to happen. There's no stopping what's about to happen. And I'm really excited because I want to see what you guys are going through. I want to see what others are going through in regard to the spiritual experience. And like I mentioned in my last video, I am 10 years in. I've also, gosh, I don't, starting with I could read and edit everything, anything that I say, and learn or think of 4 different ways to say it. And it's the same thing. As soon as I say something, I want to take it back. And I even have posted other videos that I delete. And it's really important for me to get these out in one take, because, and I only have like one shot a day, because I'm not going to restate, because it has to come from this genuine, this truthful place. You will never catch me. Oh gosh, I see I'm opinionated. And I'm nervous about that, because I'm here to grow, and I've seen how people are, and that's exactly, what I've got a problem with is how people are. But that is because I'm where I'm at, where I've worked. I'm in the suburbs. I've been trying to think of like ways that I can like label and classify myself and simplify and blah, blah, blah. But it's just like this place where people are being, there's restaurants on every single corner, and it's just, the quality of life is very, very sad right now. And this is something really, really important to me. This pursuit of peace in life, and the quality of conversations, and not saying that's not what, and so this is an apology video. This is kind of an explanation. Oh god, here comes bubbles. An explanation, and maybe my microphone doesn't have a mute. I look at it, I'm like, there's gotta be one, but I really don't think there is. But I don't want to be distracted whenever I express this, because it's very aligned with something that a lot of people are going through right now. The ghosting, that sort of drop off that occurs, if you know me. And And I've never meant anything personal by it. And I want this to be heard loud and clear that I've done this my entire life. Not only kept to myself, and gosh, whenever I look back at this in the future, like I really have not been able to analyze myself. I am so brainwashed and focused on going, creating, going, and it's brought me here. And now I'm finally able to, I'm stepping out of my body and looking at it from a different perspective, and that's what I hope the internet will bring. And I do even have plans on how I will create boundaries on the internet, which sounds kind of crazy. That will be for another video, because I'm sincere about this. My entire life have kind of ended friendships abruptly, and there's only been 1 or 2 times that I've kind of surprised myself by the degree of which I have moved into ignoring somebody. But it still was not necessarily personal, except for there's no way that it wasn't. I did it for myself, and that I don't think should be seen as a bad thing. If you know something is good for yourself, better for yourself, and even if it's not without thought, if you just subconsciously have to make a decision to move on and like stop responding to certain things without it being defined or like having a certain reason. I mean, do you owe somebody an apology if that's the case? Because you were just doing what was best for yourself. If you hurt somebody, and there was one time, and I did bump into her at the grocery store, and I was able to apologize, and I'm really thankful that she didn't hold any kind of like grudge. And what the case was, you know, I did my own thing, but I had another girl who I kind of accidentally, you know, was making friends with at the same time. And that's the thing, you get multiple people in, and I've found it's just easier to stay alone. And I love and I hate this for myself at the same time, because I am a very alone. And but this is kind of also what reiterates and reestablishes my truth and how strongly I'm pursuing whatever it is I'm pursuing. But back to the apologies, because I do want to invite people from my past to, you know, obviously I'm not asking you to support me, and that is what I was gonna mention. I will never ask somebody to subscribe or follow or do anything, you know, reminding you to, like, if you hit the bell, you'll be notified, because I don't plan on posting. Okay, I do. I think I'm gonna end up posting more than I intended to. And that's a part of this, is to experience the evolution along with me. Now that I don't want to say that I broke out of the matrix, because here I am. Like in the last video, I worked on my resume all day and it's looking good. I found resume paper, so I'm like, oh crap, like I am supposed to keep that door open. But going back to the corporate world, I'm all over the place. I should be going back to the apologies, but I don't, it's not that I don't want to apologize, but there is a reason. Everything always serves a reason. And if I did not mean anything intentionally, it's hard apologizing for such a strong piece of myself. I'm very reserved, obviously. Look at this freaking shirt that I landed on. I tried on a couple other shirts, and I'm like, all right, we're just gonna put this one back on. Because I'm very modest, I'm very conserved, I'm very private, and I love this about myself, because I also am very open. You know, when people have a problem with me, I recognize it. It's like, oh, you're going through something. Like, I don't mean anything. No bad intentions ever. But I do want to say that I hope I get to read for, you know, my plan is to do cards. And really that's just to establish familiarity and have YouTube will be a because I'm starting, because it's happening. I have not been planning on specifically, I don't know how this will unfold, but I do have a lot of eggs in a lot of different baskets right now, and it's exciting. And I will, in my next video, kind of outline my actual plan. See if it's all kind of coming out of nowhere right now. I don't want to run a business. That is not my plan, is to strike up business, but obviously I have to make means of survival, and there is really a beauty in doing this online so that I'm able to communicate with more people across the world. Like I mentioned, I'm in the suburbs, and it's like rat race city. Nobody cares about anything except for themselves and survival, and it's no way of life. And I will not settle here. I will never settle if I'm not being constructive. This is an American thing, and this is something I wanted to mention, but I feel like I still should go back to the apology and kind of acknowledge everybody who this may have affected. Just really briefly, my little history. I know that in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, I had a friend each year, and for whatever reason, at the end of that year, we wouldn't talk over the summer, and then I would just oh, we have new classes, on to the next grade, and I did this. And then in middle school is whenever I did kind of choose a little more self-identification. I very into the emo thing. It's my most embarrassing, being in 7th grade and having raccoon eyes it was the best time, wasn't it? So I guess you could call me an elder emo. Is that a thing? Even the elder emos, I think people think that they're younger than I am. So I digress. And this is the thing, I just want to be authentic. I don't want every video to have purpose. I really do just want to enjoy my life. I'm not here to teach anything. I don't even want to share my perception. There's an analytical perception that I kind of I am frustrated, obviously, but I'm not feeding that, and I'm not feeding it anymore. I feel like I have to say a few things to kind of set the tone, the boundaries, but then on the other side, the art in this life expression, pursuit of passion and a better life, I have no doubts in myself in this regard, and I do have a really strong soul connection, and I am following that string, and that's what I would rather be on about. And I'm really excited. I've got a little staycation coming up. I'm going to house sit next week, so it'll be time for me to kind of collect my thoughts a little bit more without the pressure of this setup and my intentions here, because that's what that'll be for the next video, because this is a step in a really apparent direction. Okay, I'm back to, I guess I'm not going to break down every grade, but I did graduate high school early. I kind of completely did that without telling. I quit the volleyball team when I was found musical expression, I was a part of a social group for a little bit, and then I really found pieces of myself, and I've really been pretty self-inclusive since then. And then I partied, kind of partied. I've always been pretty reserved though, and that's kind of coming back. I'm a little kooky, right? I do. I'm, like I said at the beginning of this, I say something and I want to take it back. But I miss a lot of the people who I lost contact with. And it was never for any reason except for it was time for a new chapter. And I want this to be honored. And I want boundaries to be respected more, because the fact is, I feel like I have a lot of people who dislike me because of this. And a lot of people who question me and my morals or something. And this has come around to me, like, I've learned lessons, and I've definitely had some really, really ugly people come after me completely out of any kind of what I've had come at me. I mean, it was a reflection, and I can get into that later. And it's really more, I'm like kind of referring to a couple more recent interactions, but real ogres, real C words. I love that the C word is so bad in America, but it is. And I found the perfect person to help me identify what that word means to me. And ironically enough, and I do want to tell this story, and it will be a clickbait title, because this is just really, it was the icing on the cake for me. In my most recent position, I had a healer. Okay, I worked in a crystal shop doing facials, and my Reiki teacher was a complete bully. And I really want to elaborate and tell that story. Because honestly, I value it so much. The same way that I do all of my experiences, even, I mean, okay, maybe not all experiences, not yet. I don't fully grasp some yet, but, oh gosh, this video has already turned out longer than I wanted it to be. I'm like, if you're interested, no. It's important for me to know that my loved ones who might be curious about what it is I've been going through, where have I been, is probably more so the question. Like, why? Like, I think people probably think that I'm struggling, and honestly, like, in my perceive, like, that's the thing. I can't talk to anybody about what I'm struggling with, and that's why I'm coming online, because this is relatable. The experiences that I've encountered are of a very spiritual nature, but they're also very secluding. They're very, I don't know the right word. I mean, and you hear that whenever people go on their spiritual paths, they lose, you have to, I'm not here to teach nothing. What it is for one person is another. I'm overwhelmed. I don't even know if the sound is working on this properly. I'm spiraling. I really look forward to connecting with people, and I just wanted it to be known that I never meant anything by moving on from our friendships. And honestly, obviously I haven't moved on completely. Like, there was never anybody who I was like, oh God, I'm not dealing with them anymore. Like, and people probably are very confused why I just stopped responding. And truth be told, I've had to change my phone number too many times because of said ogres. And I'm about to open up a lot here, just on my little channel, but also, I mean, across other platforms. I'm going to push and try and get my name out there, and that is really only for pursuit in reflection. I need to see my life take a different appearance, and I'm really happy. Maybe I'll end up going to apply. I don't know if I mentioned where I want to apply. That could be on the table, because I am, and that's coming up really, really soon. And that's the thing, it's kind of crunch time. We can call it a midlife crisis. It could be that. I could be going through a midlife crisis. But that's really not what it is. It is fully in the stars. And I love saying that because I love astrology, and I am so heard by a small group of people who, well, we all listen to the same intuitive astrologer, and she is able to pinpoint specifically, so specifically, and so beautifully, and so intuitively what communications are happening between the planets and the energies and how it appears to us. And I didn't think that I would ever be heard. And honestly, no, there's no honestly. It's just a constant evolution, inspired action. That's something else that I feel very much motivated to talk about, because it's very relevant to what I didn't have before. I had more self-critique and a little bit of doubt, and things hadn't fully unfolded for me yet enough to step forward in this way and in other ways in my life. The last job that I had really did speak to my soul and the experience that I'm having as a soul on Earth. And there's something really beautiful about everything that's happening, something to be said, blah, 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 blah. Can we just take a deep breath real quick, because I want these videos to be so much more chill than this, and I'll figure out my correct format, and hopefully over my little staycation while I'm pet sitting, I can figure that out, because there's so many different ways to do this, and I want it to be, I have my cards right here, and I pulled a card earlier. I actually pulled it for my cat. Who's the sun? I can't see very well. Can you see my cat? She's right here. Okay, this is silly, but I enjoyed expressing myself. I'm still nervous. I really don't have any reason to be, though, because the whole point in this is growth, and I do want to elaborate on my boundaries a little bit. Maybe I need to collect my thoughts a little more before I do this, but honestly, I don't want to. I don't want this to be more planned out than it already is. It's already been planned by the freaking stars above, and I'm not doing anything wrong by sharing. So I had plans to have a little bit of a photo opportunity. I think it's gonna rain today, which is the perfect excuse. Also was the perfect excuse to put makeup on. I am a beauty professional, and I don't align with America's beauty standards whatsoever, and that's something I'd like to talk about, but that will be for yet another video, because they're not going to stop. I know I said it last time, but I can't. I have to do this, and I hope that I can bypass some of the judgment from people of my past, and this is a big one. People who I've worked with. I have so many people blocked on social media, and this is something I'm going to unblock everybody. And I really did this more so because I just wanted privacy. I know that I leave people wondering what I'm going through, because I am quirky, I am kooky, I've got something bigger going on, and I just don't like being questioned. But because of that, I get questioned more, and thank God it didn't lead to anything worse. I'm referring back to the Reiki teacher thing. Silly stuff. Overwhelmed at the moment. I think I'm gonna leave it right here because, I mean, I don't want to talk to myself anymore. That's honestly a big part of this. So please, maybe I'll do like a live session where I start to bedazzle this microphone. That way I have like something I'm working on, and see if anybody's like on the internet or something. But I don't expect anybody from my past to really support me. But if ever you want to say hello, I'd love to hear, especially from like some of my high school best friends, who I never had proper closure with, who would be completely inappropriate for me to reach out to. A lot of people who I grew up with are married and have kids now, and I have learned to respect this a little bit more. If you have a life, I'm not going to interfere. Unless, no, just kidding. I was gonna say unless, what was that term that I said, something, I don't know. Okay, that's enough for me today. I hope it rains. I hope you stay tuned. And I'm excited to make a video on my plans for boundaries on the internet, as well as I really want to talk about what does motivate me, the more positive aspect. Like I said, I don't want this to be about the things that I've witnessed and can't stand. I'm here to create a positive experience, and so really starting with the card readings and just learning and cultivating with like minds, as well as talking about different places on the planet that are more aligned with my core beliefs and what I'm doing to try and connect to these parts of myself. This is what's important to me, and I look forward to sharing. If you made it this far, God bless you. Comment and I will send you a present, a physical present. I have a lot of stuff to give away. I really don't have that much stuff to give away, but I did collect a lot of crystals while working in a crystal shop, and I would love to gift some to people who are here for it and kind of get the direction that this is going. If you're intuitive, you should be able to feel what I'm saying, and know the truth in what I'm saying, and that I don't plan on stopping until I get what I want. And I've got a lot of good things on my plate for the future. I will save that for one of the next videos though. Alright, thank you again. Until next time.